Hi! Thank you everyone for being so patient, for being so kind. Thank you for all the support messages that I have been getting throughout this time that I was absent or was not present on social media. And I'm really grateful for each and everyone who subscribed on my YouTube channel over here, for everyone that follows X-Crew and X-Crew Instagram account, or I would say social media learning platforms, X-Crew and X-Crew. I would have to say that I have been so blessed to have an army of people over here following these platforms that are so loving, they're so forgiving, they're so passionate, compassionate, motivated, determined, ambitious, and you guys are truly something I would say a rock. There are those that were not so, I would say, as the words I mentioned earlier, and those are the people actually that I have very freely shared on my account, and the messages that they have sent to me, or the comments that they have given to me. Because one thing I want everyone who is on my platform, who comes and visits this platform, to know is that constructive criticism is one thing, insulting someone is another thing. If you want to give me a constructive criticism, you're more than welcome to do that. You can send me a message on my Instagram account or on my email. You can email me and give me that constructive criticism. But what is so important is, before you do that, you actually sit down and research a bit how to give that constructive criticism without insulting the other person. I'll just take a little bit of a time to say that calling someone's content or someone's behavior a bullshit can never be a constructive criticism, and we can debate until tomorrow. But everyone who tries to be indecent, who tries to insult, or who does this things that are making me feel not nice, I would say, because I don't do that. I never insult anyone. I never say to anyone, don't talk bullshit or shame on you or things like that, because it's not nice. I would tell you maybe that you're talking bullshit, but I would say it in a way that it's not gonna insult you, and I will not make you feel bad. Rather, I would make you understand that what you're saying is not nice, it's not good, it's not bringing you any good things, and maybe you can look for a way to how to improve. And I would suggest you, and I would give you the ways of how you can improve. This is very generally speaking, but once again, to the army of people that are following this platform, irrespective if you're subscribed or you are just, visiting, you are a viewer. Thank you very much again for being that rock, that person that is nice, is kind, is always mindful about other people's feelings, because at the end of the day, the things that I'm striving on my platforms are the emotional intelligence and the cultural intelligence. So let's start with the core component, or the core topic on this video: how I got the job, how did I cope with the many failures that I have been through, and I know that you all guys want to hear about it. Maybe it's gonna take half an hour of this video. I'm really not sure as I'm filming it right now, but I have so many things to share with you. Let's start. For those of you that are new on my platform, a very warm welcome, and my name is Julia George. I used to fly for Qatar Airways for 10 years, and now I am living in Germany for almost 3 years, and in this time while I'm living in Germany, I have started this YouTube channel sharing with all of you my knowledge, my experience from the cabin crew job. But I didn't stop there. I continued growing in my career, or I continued my education and my self-development. I am at the moment writing my master thesis, because I am soon gonna graduate or become a master, gain a master in aviation management over here in Germany. And I just got employed as an area manager in Amazon in Germany over here where I work, and I'm so happy to share with you how my journey from one leadership position, from a cabin service director in Qatar Airways to an area manager at Amazon, how all it happened. It was a very intensive period of time, but if you want to learn and just hear about how everything developed, what were the chain of events that were following this one leadership position, then another leadership position, then you better stay tuned. Then you also might want to click the subscribe button, and be part of our X-Crew family. You all know the reason why I was gone. I was gone because I was searching for a job, but that was not the main reason why I was gone. I keep on saying in all the videos that I live in Germany, I've been here for 3 years, I've done this, I've done that, but the main concern why I have been gone is actually the German language. Now, I got engaged with the German language since day one when I came to Germany, because I didn't speak German. It's not in the languages that I spoke previously. And what I did is I started an intensive course, which was 8 to 1 p.m., 8 in the morning to 1 p.m. in the afternoon. And it was going on for 6 months. I reached to the stage where I passed the B2 level, because it starts with A1, A2, B1, B2. So I came to the B2 level. But generally, I think that my knowledge at that time, because I just passed B2 level, I was still at between B1 and B2, because from B2 level of German language until I actually started searching for the job, I was constantly engaged with the English language, because my master studies were with English. And last year in November, when I got the idea to start looking for a job, because part of my master studies is actually a 3 months of an internship that I would have to do on a leadership position in a company which is related to aviation, which is related to sort of transport. It has a transport service. I would have to do that 3 month of job. And most probably when you're doing an internship, it's going to be a low pay or a no pay. And I was ready to actually do that. So the entire story happened from November, when I started sitting down and thinking, December, January is the time when I'm going to be, actually January was my last exam. When I submitted my last exam, actually the deadline for the last exam was 15th of March, but I submitted way earlier. It was the preparation for the mini master thesis before I start writing my master thesis on the subject aviation management. I really enjoyed writing this project. Was something very, very interesting, very pragmatic, I would say, and I'm really looking forward to my master thesis. I will share with you in another video what I'm going to write my master thesis on. So let me go back to the German language. When I started looking for a job, everywhere, literally in 99% of the vacancies was written that I supposed to know well English and German. And English was not a problem for me, but German still at B2 level. But honestly speaking, I felt as a B1, because I was, and I still do, a lot of grammatic mistakes when I speak German, but mostly when I'm explaining the things in German, people that are German speakers would understand what I mean, although I have so many grammatic failures, as I have said. And it was a time when I understood that this skill, because speaking a German language is sort of a skill that I need to improve, I need to sit down, do something. Either, enroll myself into classes, start the self-learning process, or, just find a way to improve the language. Because everywhere I was doing the job applications, the German language skills was something I was really, really concerned about. And here come to a point when many of you are concerned about the English language skills. Many candidates are lacking with the English language skills. You understand this video, you understand everything that I'm saying, but when is the time for you to speak actually, and to express your skills, your experience, to formulate those long sentences which are requiring vocabulary, you are hesitant. So the same thing, exactly the same thing happened to me with the German language. The first thing I did, I never discouraged myself, because I said to myself, English is not my mother language. I've learned English. So just the way I have learned English, I'm going to be learning German as well. Remember, many of you that are a long time on my platform over here and that you follow all the videos, I had a video on how to learn languages, and in that video I also explained how I have learned, or I think that it was a video where I say how to improve the English language skills. This is a separate video. In that video I give you all the tips on how I have learned English. I have applied exactly the same tips when I was improving my German language skills, because I was supposed to do interviews. So the first interview that happened to me was an online video interview. Usually with the COVID crisis and everything, every video that I have done was starting with a video interview before you reach to a point when you actually speak with the recruiter. So the first was a company which is a ship company based here in Rostock, where I live, like 100 kilometers from where I live. And the online video interview was terrible, because I think that my German was so bad, and I think that the person who watched that video was, I think, laughing all the time, because there were 5 questions which I answered. It's so inappropriate German language. And the last question was in English. I think the English question I have answered that properly, but yeah, I did not get the job for the cruise ship company. It was a managerial position related to customer service. And I didn't discourage myself. It was the first interview and it was fine. I'm just gonna, take my time, and until January, I will slowly apply. So here December happened, and one of my colleagues actually sent me a job vacancy for the company Airbus. You all know Airbus. And I was so excited because I was fulfilling all the requirements to be part of a team. It was the job description was related to design of the cabin, and you would have to sit down with the companies that have ordered an Airbus, listen to their requirements, what do they want, and offer them solutions. And here they needed in their team somebody who has been working as a cabin crew. It was not a position for an engineer, and I was the perfect fit for the job because I have been working as a cabin crew for almost 10 years. I was going to the end with my master's studies in aviation management, and I was, just like, okay, give me the job. And the first thing that happened when you usually do a video interview with Airbus, I was also very sure that I'm gonna get the job, because honestly, when you read the job qualifications, everything was me. And I got the pre-selected process because Airbus is a huge company. As you all know, thousands of people are applying, and especially here in Germany, it's something that I wouldn't say it's popular, but for aviation professionals who are in the aviation industry, it's kind of the dream job to be in. So I got the chance to have the video interview and I failed. I literally didn't prepare myself for that video interview because I thought that, I have my YouTube channel, I know how to speak, I know what to say, and it's not going to be a problem for me. Where in fact, guys, even if you have been working as a chief executive operation for a company and you have an interview coming for another company, you need the time to prepare. You need to learn the company's values, you need to learn about their vision, their mission, and you need to have ready examples which are corresponding to the company values, because all the questions that you are going to be asked during every sort of interview, video interview, or you are face-to-face meeting the recruiters, they will be asking you questions which are coming out from their values. What are the things that are they're valuing in the candidate itself? And these questions, you're supposed to answer them by giving real examples, either from your educational background or from your work experience. You need to tell them that you can work with their values. And I did nothing of it. I did not prepare myself and I lost that opportunity. I would say I was a bit sad that day when I received that email that unfortunately my application is not going to be taken further because, I did not went through the video interview. Prior to that, I also got a chance to speak with the head of the department and, to tell him that I am so excited for the job. But this is at this stage when I was doing the video interview, we had a telephone call. When I called him, at this stage, I was still dealing with the human resource team, and there was nothing that he can do to, push my application because I simply didn't answer the question. My answers were not satisfactory. And I did not discourage myself. Many of the candidates, when you guys do not pass the interview, you are so discouraged. You are writing me this long messages of how desperate you are. You're never gonna apply for Qatar Airways. You're never gonna apply for Emirates. What do the recruiters want? I just told you what the recruiters want. The recruiters or any HR representative, when they would see your video interview, in your answers, they wanna know, do you know the company values? And have you been using any of those values in your educational background, in your work experience? If you're somebody who doesn't have, I would say, strong educational background, but you have graduated high school, which is electrical engineering, and you don't have a work experience, it's going to be very hard for you to become a cabin crew. I already spoke about this because the values that the company looks for most probably are very weak at this point, but that doesn't mean that they will stay weak forever. If you work on it, if you gain some experience, if you want to work for a worldwide company, guys, you need to sell yourself as the best candidate. I was not able to do that because I thought that I know how to answer the question, where in fact at this time I did not use my own advices. I don't know how I failed it. Maybe I was overconfident, and sometimes overconfidence is making us to fail when we want to achieve something. And as I said, I never discouraged myself. In the meantime, I was contacted by a British company because all those job hunting sites like Glassdoor, Stepstone, Indeed, and many others, there were places where I had made my profiles, and somebody contacted me from the UK and, started taking informations about me and what are the jobs that I'm looking for over here in Germany. And I'll never forget, that was a month of December. I spoke to somebody called Ben. He was very kind. He was very, very nice. And I can check the email and tell you the company, but I don't think I'm supposed to do that. But anyway, Ben called me, and as we had our conversation, it lasted for 1 hour. He asked me the following question. So, Juliana, can you tell me, how is your business German going on? Like, what is your level of understanding business German? And I honestly said, at this time, it's like really so weak, I think. And I said I have B2 certificate for knowing German, which is a requirement for the jobs over here, most of the jobs. But I said, my understanding is at B1, I would have to be honest with you. And he said, fine, if you would improve your German language skills, there is a great job opportunity for you at Amazon. And he explained the area manager position, because at this time when I'm applying, I'm still a student, but what they do, they employ you as a manager, and you are graduating and you have this, faster career growth as you're graduating and carrying on with your work in Amazon, which was also the case and is still the case with the fast growing companies in the world, airlines, Amazon, DHL, let's say Emirates, and so on and so forth. Because in this business, the companies I have mentioned, they're all globally in a way connected. And Amazon is a company that also has their own airline, just like DHL. Let me go back to the story with Ben. He said this about Amazon, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll take that into consideration. But I never sat down and never opened the vacancy. When we had our last class with our professor at the university, and it was like a farewell to say goodbye, and we're almost going to the end with we're coming to the end with our studies. He also said to us one thing. He said, you guys all want to work in the commercial aviation industry, but let me tell you that the cargo sector in aviation is also not a bad idea, because this is the place where actually great money are there. And this triggered my mind, because he mentioned the companies which are related to aviation, but are related with the cargo sector. And here I remembered the words of Ben about the area manager job, and I said, you know what? I failed the Airbus interview, and maybe it's the time for me to open this Amazon area manager job and just check what do they want. But in the meantime, I said, I'm not gonna be. I know what I'm lacking. My action plan was formed at this time. I would say I was on a train. I was going from Schwerin to Hamburg. I had a meeting there. I was meeting a friend, I think, because I was supposed to take some document from Qatar and things like that. And here is the time where in that train, I had my action plan in my head. I know what I'm lacking. I'm lacking German language skills. I have some period of time until, I pass the last exam and start writing my master thesis, which was the time from December until February. February is the time when I'm supposed to decide what I'm going to write about, in March. And I said, this time I really need to use effectively. And this is where I said goodbye from social media. I was, very weak in answering messages, and it became like gradually, slowly, when I said at one point in some of my posts, guys, I'm not answering your messages, because simply I had to give up on one thing in order to achieve another thing. And social media takes a lot of time. I'm filming with you this video, which later I'm gonna, edit a little bit until I publish it. Then there was a time when I have to do my lunch, pick up my daughter from the kindergarten, and you start all these other preparations, which I have as a mother and as a wife. And if you are somebody who doesn't have a family, you live with your parents, just turn around and look what your parents are doing. And if you see your parents being hell of a busy the entire day, just imagine your parents doing all these things plus doing social media, which I'm doing as well. But I never complain. I would say I love the way I'm struggling with the time, the adrenaline that I'm getting. But let me come to the point again when Amazon happened. So at this time of almost a month and a half, I decided not to go for German language classes because it was not fitting in my schedule, and I was still pretty much busy with my last exams at the university, and I sat down and did a self-learning process. Thankfully, I'm so thankful that this YouTube exists. So anyone working at YouTube, watching this video, being somehow connected with the design of a YouTube, you guys have been masters to invent this platform. The amazing videos that are there from people creating YouTube videos on topics that are a field of interest for us is just amazing. So I downloaded a couple of videos so I could, just at night watch them when my daughter is sleeping, or when I'm driving in the car and going somewhere, or just, use my mobile data. It was not a problem for me. And I started from the scratch. I started with watching videos from A1. Those were just piece of cake. Then A1 German language, and I did A2. And then I started with B1 German language videos for self-presentation, how to present yourself, before I went to B2. So I didn't start straight away watching a B2 level German, but I started with A1, A2, B1, B2, and then I even started with C1 German language videos, in which a lot of people which are working in teaching German have their platforms and their YouTube videos. Just don't ask me who they are, because I watched everything that popped up. I would be at home cooking, a video is going on. Then I came to a point when I would sit down and prepare myself for an interview and write all the interview questions in German. Like, tell us why would you want to work for our company? What are your strengths and your weaknesses? And I started practicing the answers of these questions so I would know what exactly to say. Because guys, the German grammar, for those of you that have learned German at some point, you guys know that the grammar is completely different than the English language, that you always put the verb at the end, and you always have to know, are you speaking a dative, are you speaking accusative, and things like that. It has everything that you speak about, it has its own article. Then when you speak, this article converts to the dative or the accusative that you're speaking. Anyway, I'm gonna confuse myself if I start speaking about this. But anyway, it took a time when I really enjoyed this time when I was learning the German language. It was every day. It was like literally waking up with German, going to bed with the German language. I also came up with an idea that while preparing for this Amazon interview, I'm just, gonna be applying to get familiarize myself with getting a job at the airport. And I did a couple of, it was exactly in total 6 interviews, which were face-to-face interviews, online face-to-face interviews, using WebEx, Zoom, and platforms like this, with actual recruiters, completely in German language. And I would have to say that I got all the jobs which were related to airport jobs, and a check-in agent, and one of the job was shift manager, actually, in Berlin airport, if I'm not mistaken. So during this time, I practiced my German language so well, and my husband was like, he was just shocked. I pick up languages very fast. I would have to say this. I'm not talented for mathematics, for physics, but language, I can learn it, not a problem. And here was a time when my Amazon interview was preparing, because I applied, I got selected, I fulfilled all the requirements for it, and I was waiting for my video interview. In the meantime, I was also Googling and YouTubing a lot of consultants that have been previously working in Amazon on high positions, which have videos just like the way I do for the cabin crew job. And believe it or not, but guys, they're all the same format. So all these consultants that I was watching their videos on YouTube were emphasizing on the importance of Amazon leadership principles, or the values that the company has, and to know them, and in fact to prepare answers and to know answers for each and every one of them. The struggle over here was that I have a lot of examples with the leadership principles, with the values of Amazon, but the struggle was, how will I be able to say them in German, because I know in English exactly what I'm going to say. And the other thing which I also learned from all the consultants was that I would have to answer every question with a particular example. Now, to talk generally, excellent customer service is when you actually serve the customer with everything they want. These are not the answers you're supposed to give, but you're supposed to give a life example of how you delivered an excellent customer service. And when the customer was, surprised and had that wow moment that you did for them, and, they would remember the company thanks to you, basically. If we go back to Qatar Airways and we see the values of Qatar Airways, it's a bit more easier, because I would say there are only 5, unlike Amazon, there were 14. I had to learn all the 14, but it was not a problem because they were all connected and they were all somehow something what I was doing previously. And I had everything written on this board. I have over here all the leadership principles, or the 14 leadership principles of Amazon, which I love them. I represent them all. I have worked in my previous job with all the 14 leadership principles of Amazon. But if we go back to Qatar Airways and we check about the values, the principles of Qatar Airways, there are 5. They're pride in Qatar, they're customer first, they're driving excellence, honest and loyalty, and one team. And if you just Google these values, you would see great explanation. You would see the photos, and you can think for a moment how you have been pride, what you have done previously in your previous job that you have taken a pride in, what achievement you have done in your previous job, and a life example that when you talk with the recruiters of Qatar Airways, you will show them that you have actually done it. Recently, I talked with a candidate who said, I have been applying for the cabin crew job since 2016. What do they want? I went there and I smiled. I was well groomed, and they're still not selecting me. If you do not have examples of Qatar Airways values that you have previously worked with, because these are values, they're not exclusively belonging to Qatar Airways. They can be your values. They're my values. Honest and loyalty is my value since I'm born. And in many videos I have said, I'm very honest and I'm loyal to my friends. But this is something that Qatar Airways emphasizes. In your previous job or at your university, when have you been honest and loyal to the institution? How you have done that? When you have had an achievement that your institution, your colleagues, you all were proud of. You took pride in that. Customer first. When did you serve a customer? The customer was wowed. Or if you do not have a work experience, how do you think a customer should be served? Give a great example of excellent customer service. In Amazon, they call it customer obsession. How obsessed you are with the customers. Give an example that customer service is important to you. If you're able to do that, you can become a cabin crew for every airline in the world. And this is, regarding the Qatar Airways vision, the Qatar Airways values, the Qatar Airways mission. And I think I am the first consultant who told you long ago, I exist on social media for over 2 years, that these should be your guidelines. This is how I got the job at Amazon. I had prepared all life examples of the leadership principles of Amazon that I have worked with previously. The only struggle I had that I had to explain them in German. But hey, you know what? In this 1.5 months, learning German every single day, because I didn't start from the scratch, was slightly easier. And you know what? I even started reading a book in German. I got this book from a borrowing library. There are a lot of small library shops over here where you just go and take a book, you read it, and you return it back. At the beginning, I was understanding maybe 10%, but now I'm a bit deep into it and I understand more and more. I have to all the time write the new words, check what they mean, but this is how I improve my language. I also work on my accent because, I'm listening how people are pronouncing German, and then I try to imitate the accent, so I would sound as much as I can German. This is something that, I've been doing with the English language, and I try not to influence the language that I'm speaking with my accent. But this is just me. If you're speaking any language with your own accent, I want to tell you something, guys. It's totally okay. If you speak English with your mother language accent, it's totally okay. But what is not okay is you not being able to formulate the sentence. So let me go back to the job at Amazon. I did the interview, and I got the email just a few days later that I got the job, and actually I'm starting in a few days. My contract has already been signed, and I'm going to be, the job where I'm going to be working is going to be 100 plus kilometers or 120 kilometers from where I live. And from the beginning, I'm going to be driving. So I'm not going to be so active on social media. I'll try my very best, but I would have to travel 1.5 hours until I reach work. And then after work, I would have to travel again 1.5 hours to come home. So at this time, I'm going to be very tired. And, with all this home duties that I have with my daughter and with my husband, and my mom is going to be here helping in order to, establish myself easier in the job. I am going to be a bit relieved from the home duties and activities. And what I'm trying to say, this video took a really long time, but what I'm trying to tell you all is that you should never discourage yourself when you have a failure. If I sat down after the Airbus interview and, I said, what these guys want, I have been working for Qatar Airways. I'm fulfilling all the requirements. I speak 8 languages. I'm having a master in aviation management, and it still did not take me. What else do they want? I should first of all, or this is what I did actually, sit down and think, how many people have actually sat down and prepared themselves for this interview? Maybe less qualified than me. Perhaps many. I failed in this, but this failure is going to be a motivation from where I'm going to be carrying on. This failure is going to be, or is going to give me, and it gave me lessons that I'm going to be learning forever. Lesson number 1, even if I resigned as a chief executive of an airline, of a company, and apply for another company, I will always prepare myself for an interview. Lesson number 2, let's do it like this. Lesson number 2, every company has its own different vision, mission, values. If you sit down and write the vision, the mission, and the values of Qatar Airways, Fly Dubai, Emirates, Etihad, they're all different in words, but they're all the same. But these vision, these values should be incorporated in your vocabulary when you will be talking to the recruiters. These values should be presented with live examples of what you have been working previously. One of the leadership principles of Amazon is bias for action. Was there a time in my previous job when I was biased for action? Oh, I was cabin crew. Biased for action all the time. I have tons of examples when I have been biased for action. Maybe this leadership principle is not common for DHL. In DHL, they would have it, but it's going to be in a different form. But lesson number 2, as I have said, know the values of the company and have yourself ready answers to know how to explain this value as something you have been working with previously, either from your educational background or from your work experience. And do not text me under the video saying to me, I have no work experience, no educational background, what should I do? I think most of us, or all of us on social media, have already told you that you need to start learning, you need to start investing in yourself, you need to start working, you need to start from a customer service job. Now the airlines are not recruiting freshers. You are hoping Qatar Airways is going to recruit you as a fresher? No. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen because there are people, triple size of people who are overqualified and who are prepared and are applying for the job. Look at this picture. This is one open day for an airline. The gentleman has wrote, check how hard it is to become a cabin crew. And if you think that being a fresher, you're going to get a priority nowadays, I don't think so. Lesson number 3, practice, practice, practice. So practice makes things perfect is really not a cliche. Sit down, read the questions, sit down in front of the mirror, practice the answers. Film yourself. In some of my videos, I also said, guys, don't be shy, film yourself. Check yourself how you're looking. Share it with your close people, with somebody who will be able to tell you, you are too much with your hands, or you are too much sitting and you're not moving at all, or your facial expression. Try based on the knowledge that you are getting on a daily basis, because you're watching this video, you want to get some tips and tricks, right? So try based on the knowledge that you're gathering to observe yourself from another perspective. It's hard to get out from your body and check yourself from the side. It's impossible. But the thing is that when you're looking yourself in that video, you have filmed yourself, based on the knowledge you have gathered, you will be able to see where you're lacking. One time I was filming myself when I was answering a question in German related to the job interview, and I found myself rolling eyes. I don't know how, but I rolled my eyes, and I was like, oh my God, I just rolled my eyes. I have to be really mindful about it. Sometimes I roll my eyes, I'm a mother, I get pissed off, and I have a lot of things to do, and I'm gonna be like, come on. And this unintentionally can be part of your personal presentation during the job interview. So bottom line is always practice. Try to find the things that you're lacking and try to have them in the back of your mind. Lesson number 4 is, again, don't get discouraged, because if you fail this time with good lessons learned, you've sit down, you've evaluated where you're lacking. Usually for every job that you are applying for, you are lacking in your education, in your work experience, in your skills. These are the 3 important components where we are all lacking. And of course, here comes the personal presentation. Here comes our grooming, because part of the cabin crew job, important part of the cabin crew job, is the grooming. Unlike in Amazon, it was clearly written for me that I'm not supposed to care about how I look, what I'm wearing. I can just be comfortably seated and I can just sit down. But guess what? I'm a person who wants to go beyond what is expected from me. So I was fully prepared, dressed, makeup and everything. Try to look as a manager as much as I can, not with my suit and tie, because at Amazon, area managers don't wear a suit and tie. It's a job that requires a lot of moving. But still, the thing is that I was ready and I was presenting myself with makeup and, well-groomed, because although they don't expect that from me, I want that wow moment. Like, wow, she looks so presentable. Try to, and I know that you know what are the cabin crew requirements. I know that you know about the age, and I know that you know about all the things that you're supposed to have. But try to read between the lines. What are the things that the airlines are looking for from you as a candidate? And do not forget, I strive for this. I say this so many times. Emotional intelligence, cultural intelligence. You have videos on my YouTube channel related to these topics. You can only write on YouTube over here, emotional intelligence, Julia George, and you're gonna find my videos. You can only write cultural intelligence, Julia George, and you're gonna find my videos. I'm certified to speak about this because we were actually educated on this topic. We were trained on this topic in Qatar Airways. I'm sure in Emirates and in Etihad, they pay attention to this. I wouldn't say details, but these are the core reasons. When you work with people, emotional intelligence is everything. Emotional intelligence is designing the constructive criticism that some candidates who are writing, I used to like you, now I don't like you anymore because you are complaining and you are talking a bullshit. Zero emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the core reason for, or the core component of the constructive criticism. When you give a constructive criticism, you always think in your mind how the other person is going to feel. A small story, when I was transitioning from cabin crew in business class to cabin senior, and I had an interview in Qatar Airways. We used to have these interviews. I don't know if they're applicable yet, but when I had an interview with one of the trainers, the question I was asked is how I'm going to give a feedback to somebody who has a bad odor, who smells bad. And this is where I'm supposed to give constructive criticism to the person that has bad odor, has sweat, forgotten to put the deodorant, and I'm not supposed to make this person feel offended, but I have to make this person follow my instructions, wanting to do that, realizing that indeed he's emitting or she's emitting body odor, and keep him as part of the team. If you're thinking to give to anybody on social media constructive criticism, there are two components that you're supposed to think about. Do you still want them on social media? If you do, if you like what they have said before, if they have helped you in any way, then it's fine. If you don't want them on social media anymore, YouTube, Instagram, everything has a magic button. You can block them and you don't have to see them forever. They're not on your list. You're not seeing them. It's completely gone from your social media platforms. But if you want to be that smart person, because remember, all my platforms are public. All the platforms of my friends, which are in this consultancy business in a way that are earning from this business, they're also open. Every recruiter has access to our platforms in order to read the comments. Somebody would read it. And usually those that are commenting not so good words, forget that they have their pictures there. And after 2 weeks, they're going to go and attend an open day. Who knows? Maybe the recruiters have their own group of, when they're interacting with each other, maybe they're sharing who has done something on social media, who has posted something. You have a sort to say your profile, and you have your reputation as an individual, irrespective. You are somebody who has 20,000 followers or you're somebody who has 20 followers. Build your reputation wisely when you are on social media, because you want to be in the customer service industry and you want to be in a job where you need to serve customers. Listen to customers when they're complaining. I know I have been complaining on social media saying, guys, this is too much. I'm receiving so many messages. I can't answer. And it's my right to complain, because indeed, just before I filmed this video, I got a message. I don't know what to do. I'm 20 years old. I don't know, should I apply or not? I think they're just typing age requirements and next screw, you're going to have the answer to your question. But still, we want served answers now. And if we don't give this answer now, you're bad, you're bullshit, you should be ashamed of yourself, get away from here. What kind of attitude is that? I took a lot of time to talk about this. But bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, in this video is that you can get the job. Any job you're applying for in the aviation industry, you can get it. If you are a cabin crew, or you are somebody who thinks about what about the cabin crew, what about my career after the cabin crew job, I'm going to dedicate a separate video in which I think, and I spoke about it, but your career opportunities, this is what you need to know. After you finish with the cabin crew job and all, after you've said it's fine, I'm not flying anymore, your career opportunities are not the same as mine. My career opportunities are not the same as some of my colleagues who have been in the aviation industry for 20 years. Why? Because our career after the cabin crew job, if we want to stay in the aviation industry, is determined by several factors: our educational background, our work experience, and our current vision of what. I knew that I wanted to be in the aviation industry. I knew that I wanted to be in a managerial position. The reason why I started aviation management was because I wanted to start again as a manager. I wouldn't say I didn't want to think about myself starting from the bottom, but even if I have to start from the bottom, it's totally fine. But I knew that I want to be a manager because I find myself good with people. I love working with people. I've learned a lot working as an in-flight manager, and I thought that starting again as a manager would be something I would be good in. And this is why I used this time while I was pregnant and after my pregnancy until now, this time productively during COVID and everything, because losing time simply is bringing you backwards of what you want to achieve. If you just sit down, watch this video, and you do nothing about it later on, you have no notes, no action plan, if you're somebody who has no degree, no work experience, you're just going to be sitting and watching videos, and that's it. But be biased for action in your career objectives. Be biased for action in your way of thinking of how you want to become a cabin crew. Don't complain, Don't nag on social media. Don't tell to people, I've been there, I was nice, I was dressed. What do they want? And I think in this video, I've shared enough what everybody wants, what the recruiters want, what the HR representative wants. Last but not the least, we're going to be hanging out in a form of videos, maybe less frequently as previously, but more structurally. I was thinking at a point in time to make my YouTube channel a payable version, and I'm still standing by it, where I'm going to be releasing videos and content on a weekly basis. I'm still finding myself in this field, I would say, because I really need to think about my job, driving to work 1.5 hours every day, 1.5 hours backwards. It's for those of you living in the USA, you know that long drives are not a problem for most of you. But until I sort things out, maybe we're gonna move again, being closer to my job. You never know. It's not me, it's my husband, me, my daughter. We have to decide how things are gonna go on. But until I design and I'm alone in my social media platforms. This is what you need to know. I have been offered a lot of help from other people, but here comes the point of trust. I would say, I'm not gonna say I don't trust, but I have not time to get so connected with someone to hand over my platform to someone because I did not have time. If that happens, if I had a help, or if I get a help from somebody helping me to manage my platforms, which I'm gonna trust, maybe things will be easier. But at this time, so far I'm managing everything by myself. But what I want to share with you is that I will try my very best to read the comments below this video. So if you suggest to me a topic that you or an area that you want to hear from me, of something that I have not elaborated previously, I would be very happy to do it. The cabin crew requirements already done. Emotional intelligence, cultural intelligence, there are topics that are already covered, which we will update them for sure. If you ask something that I have already posted and talked about on my platforms, I will give you the link, or maybe I'll just write, this is on my Instagram, and you would have to search for it. Remember, nothing on Nextcrew Instagram account is related to my lifestyle. Everything is dedicated to you and how to become a cabin crew. Read me on nextcrew.com. Follow me on Instagram account, Nextcrew. Be subscribed over here, and I'm going to be seeing you hopefully soon. In the meantime, stay healthy, happy, knowledgeable, and strong. Bye-bye, and have a nice day.